Luxembourg is the smallest but the wealthiest country in the European Union per capita, and the citizens enjoy a high standard of living. Luxembourg's passport has always been ranked amongst the first passports in the world, according to the Passport Index. One of the reasons is that Luxembourg grants its citizens high levels of freedom and support and has the highest proportion of millionaires' households in Europe. It is also a major center for large private banking, and its finance sector is the biggest contributor to its economy. Located at the crossroads of France, Belgium, and Germany, it is famed for its cosmopolitan vibe coupled with the renowned quality of life and outstanding living standard. It is the first country in the world that public transport is free of charge in second class for national journeys. No wonder it is one of the happiest countries in the world with a low inflation and low unemployment rate. This prosperous nation is home to almost 653,000 people of more than 170 different nationalities. The country and its capital, Luxembourg City, are a unique example of tradition and modernity, blending contemporary buildings, castles, and spectacular nature, all with a short walk or drive from each other. In recent years, many international companies have chosen Luxembourg as their headquarters, joining numerous EU institutions, agencies, and bodies. Currently boasting the world's third highest GDP per capita and the largest private banking center in the Eurozone, Luxembourg has become increasingly attractive to skilled professionals. The country's expanding international job market is highly appealing to EU and non-EU applicants in search of attractive work opportunities. Its economic growth and development has fueled a population increase and created an open society where everyone feels at home. Culture and languages mix seamlessly, and families and singles alike can easily make friends. In this multilingual nation, English, French, German, and Luxembourgish are the four most spoken languages. With expats making up almost half of the total population, daily life also unfolds other languages too. If you are interested to know how to get into Luxembourg job market and get its residency, stay tuned until the end of the video. Welcome back everybody, thanks for tuning in. My name is Ahmed Reza, and here in Persia Global we help those who are in search of better opportunities to work, live or study abroad. In today's video we are going to share Luxembourg work and residence permit for salaried workers, what are the required steps, documentations and procedures to take, and how to get your degrees recognized for regulated professions like health and teaching, etc. What are the eligibility criteria for its 10-year permanent residency and Luxembourgish citizenship. In other videos, we will also share the application processing steps for investors with at least 500,000 euros investment, highly qualified workers with EU blue cards, seasonal workers, self-employed applicants, sports people and coaches, as well as researchers who are looking to relocate to this beautiful country. A third country national who wishes to come to Luxembourg to get a job or carry out any types of salaried activity for a period of more than 3 months must follow a procedure in 2 consecutive steps for a work permit and then a residence permit. Step number 1. Before entering the country, you must submit an application for a temporary stay or work permit to have the authorization for living and working to the Immigration Directorate of the Ministry of Foreign and European Affairs, or to Luxembourg diplomatic or consular representation in your country of residence. For applicants who are subject to entry visa requirements in order to enter Luxembourg, you must also request a Type D Schengen visa from Luxembourg Embassy or Consulate after having obtained the temporary work permit or temporary authorization to stay. You can also see the title of permits in original language beside the English language closed captions in our videos by activating CC or closed captions. So in the first step, you must apply firstly for a temporary work permit as a salaried worker, and then if required, apply for an entry permit, which is a type D Schengen visa, both before entering Luxembourg. Step number 2 is for procedure after entering the country. Making a declaration of arrival in the new commune of residence in Luxembourg, undergo a medical check, and then submit an application for a residence permit for third country national salaried workers. The salaried worker must submit the work permit application himself. However, he may also call upon a third party such as the employer to carry out the necessary procedures. Third country nationals with a valid residence permit for salaried workers in Luxembourg, and who, depending on the case and the type of residence permit held, change their sector of work or their profession during the validity period of the residence permit, do not need a new permit to stay in order to continue carrying out a professional activity. And also non-EU nationals who are family members of an EU citizen or of a national of a country treated as such living in Luxembourg do not need a specific work or residence permit to carry out a paid activity. Some of the prerequisites third country nationals must meet are the following requirements that applicants of these countries must satisfy. First, check whether or not they have to obtain a visa to enter the Schengen area. Having an original certificate issued by the National Employment Agency or ADM authorizing the Luxembourg employer to hire a third country national. Employers' preliminary steps before recruiting a salaried worker is that employers must make a declaration of vacant position to the ADM. The declaration will allow the employment agency to check whether there is a suitable candidate available on the local or EU job market. If the job offer cannot be filled with a person registered with the ADM with a 3-week deadline, the employer is allowed to conclude an employment contract with a person of his choice under certain conditions, including a non-EU national. To this end, the employer must submit an application on plain paper to ADM's director and request a certificate granting him the right to hire a third country national. The employer must sign a dated employment contract with a future employee. It may be stated in the contract that the start date is subject to the employee obtaining an authorization to stay for salaried workers or obtaining work permit. The employer must hand over the original certificate to the third country national who will attach it to his application for the authorization to stay or for gaining a work permit. An employer hiring a third country worker must request to see the worker's authorization to stay or work permit before starting to work with each other, and keep said copy for the whole duration of the contract. Notify the beginning of the working relationship to the Ministry of Foreign and European Affairs within 3 working days from the first day of work. To apply for a work permit as a future third country worker before entering the country, you must first submit an application for a temporary authorization to stay or work permit on plain paper from your country of origin to a Luxembourg embassy or consulate. The application for this temporary work permit must contain the applicant's identity details, surname, first name, and address, and must be accompanied by the following documents and information: a copy of a valid passport in its entirety, copy of all pages required, an extract from the criminal records, or an affidavit sworn declaration established in the country of residence, a curriculum vitae or CV, a copy of their diplomas or professional qualifications, a copy of the employment contract compliant with the Luxembourg law, dated and signed by both the applicant and his future employer in Luxembourg. The original copy of the certificate from the National Employment Agency or ADM granting the employer the right to hire a third country national. Where necessary, a power of attorney. Power of attorney is when third country nationals may mandate a third party, the future employer, to submit the application on their behalf. In this case, the mandate holder, with the exception of attorneys, must provide proof of their mandate in the form of a written power of attorney, duly dated and signed by the principal. The signature must be preceded by the handwritten note, good for proxy. This preliminary authorization to stay or work permit for salaried workers is granted for one profession in one sector for any employer. This restriction remains for the first year. A change of sector or profession is only possible with the authorization of the minister in charge of immigration. If granted, the third country national receives a temporary authorization to stay by post. This temporary authorization to stay or a work permit is valid for a period of 90 days. During this time, the third country national must either request a Schengen visa if subject to visa application and then enter on the territory of Luxembourg and make his or her declaration of arrival at the municipality of the chosen place of residence. After entering Luxembourg, the third country national has to follow the procedure to apply for the residence permit. Your documents enclosed must be originals or certified true copies except for passports and diplomas, for which plain copies will suffice. In case the documents are not in German, French or English, a confirming translation by a sworn translator must be enclosed. Should the authenticity of the document be in doubt, the Minister of Immigration can request that the document be authenticated by the appropriate local authority and legalized by the embassy, or alternatively notarized with an apostille of the Hague. For applying for a residence permit, you first need a declaration of arrival. When entering Luxembourg territory, you must hold valid travel documents as well as your temporary authorization to stay. Any person, regardless of nationality, who establishes residence in a commune of Luxembourg must, upon their arrival, declare their presence to the census office of the communal administration of their new place of residence. You must make a declaration of arrival at the administration of the commune where they intend to establish residence within 3 to 8 days of arrival in Luxembourg, presenting a valid travel document, passport, and where applicable, a visa or a residence permit or authorization to stay issued by another EU member state, a valid proof of address, a rental agreement, electricity bill, etc. The applicant will receive a copy of their declaration of arrival as a receipt. The copy of the declaration of arrival together with the authorization to stay both serve as a work permit and authorization to stay until the residence permit is issued. For medical check, you must consult a doctor established in Luxembourg to undergo a medical examination. Applications for residence permits can only be processed by the Immigration Directorate once the corresponding medical certificates have been received. You are therefore advised to undergo the medical examination and the screening test as soon as possible. After receiving the results of these examinations, the health inspection center of the Health Directorate will issue a medical certificate which will be sent to the Immigration Directorate of the Ministry of Foreign and European Affairs to allow the residence permit application to be processed. You may also need to get your diploma or certificates recognized by Luxembourg so that you could practice your profession regulated. So levels of study, diplomas, and professional qualifications obtained abroad may under certain conditions be subject to recognition of equivalence. The Department for the Recognition of Diplomas will determine whether the professional qualifications are recognized as equivalent to the qualification required in Luxembourg in order to access certain liberal professions and professions in the commercial and craft sector, healthcare professions, and the socio-educational professions like specialist, teacher, carer. Applications for recognition of equivalence are subject to the payment of a fee. To find any additional information to inquire with the department for the recognition of diplomas, you can check their website with a link below our video. To find a job in Luxembourg, you can use different job recruitment agencies or job portals, and yet you can use the new career platform work-in-luxembourg.lu with a link below our video that features job offers in sectors for which it is difficult to find suitable candidates on Luxembourg national labor market. You can find job offers in the following sectors of finance, IT, business services, and legal advice, healthcare, hospitality and tourism, engineering, research activities, and food processing. Check out the job offers and boost your career in Luxembourg by registering on this platform. You can create a profile and upload your CV that will be visible to employers legally established in Luxembourg. You also have the possibility to participate in online job fairs that are regularly organized on this platform. Please be aware that they only accept applications from candidates who match the job categories mentioned in the registration form. For Luxembourg permanent residency, you can submit an application to obtain long-term resident status to the Immigration Directorate of the Ministry of Foreign and European Affairs. Any third country national who is lawfully residing in Luxembourg for an uninterrupted period of at least 5 years without being interrupted by temporary absences of less than 6 consecutive months, and which do not exceed a total of more than 10 months in 5 years, except for uninterrupted absences for a maximum of 12 consecutive months for important reasons such as pregnancy and childbirth, a serious illness, studies or professional training, can gain permanent residency. The Luxembourg permanent residence card is valid for 10 years and is automatically renewable every 10 years. For gaining Luxembourgish citizenship, the naturalization process is almost open to all adults, provided that they have legally resided in Luxembourg for at least 5 years. The final year of residence immediately preceding the naturalization application must have been uninterrupted. They must have knowledge of the Luxembourgish language as evidenced by a Luxembourgish language test pass certificate. They have taken the Vivre Ensemble Grand Duché de Luxembourg course or passed the test covering the topic taught in this course. Acquiring Luxembourgish nationality is also subject to a condition of good repute. Thanks again for your watching. If you are taking your first or even final steps of your immigration, relocation, study abroad journey, you can subscribe and find more videos in our channel that are specifically recorded for global relocation in general and how to get work, study and residence permits of the best countries in the world, countries with high quality of life indexes, low unemployment rate and high salaries, as well as how to move or immigrate to these countries either temporarily or permanently. If you are considering Luxembourg as your potential country of immigration, you should check out taxes, social security, life standards and much more to be fully prepared for your immigration. Book a consultation and discuss with the immigration consultant your individual situation. We offer the best immigration solutions for Luxembourg. Today's quote comes from Stephen Covey, the author of the book 7 Habits of the Highly Effective People. He says, we are not a product of what has happened to us in our past. We have the power of choice. Until next video, cheers, over and out.